So let's talk about John Milton. He's one of the absolute giants of English literature, right? But his whole story is built on this fascinating paradox. See, he was a deeply religious guy who somehow ended up creating the most compelling, charismatic villain in literary history. So how on earth did that happen? Let's dig in and find out. I mean, listen to this line. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Wow, that's Satan from Milton's masterpiece, Paradise Lost. And it's got to be one of the most famous declarations of rebellion ever. It's so defiant, so proud, and it's coming from the bad guy, which of course leads to the big question that people have been asking for centuries. Yeah, how did a blind, devout Puritan manage to create literature's greatest rebel? I mean, think about it. This was a man who believed his talent was a gift straight from God, and yet he gave the devil all the best lines. The answer? Well, it's all wrapped up in the man himself and the absolutely chaotic times he lived through. Okay, so let's rewind. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Because before Milton was a revolutionary, he was a poet. And for him, being a poet, well, that was nothing short of a divine mission. You see, for Milton, being a poet wasn't just, a cool job. It was a sacred duty. He genuinely saw himself as a kind of spokesperson for God, and his mission was to write things that would teach the entire nation how to be moral and virtuous. And boy, did he prepare for this mission. I mean, his dedication was off the charts. After Cambridge, he decided against a career in the church and instead locked himself away for 6 whole years of intense private study. He's mastering languages, devouring literature. Then he goes on this tour of Italy and meets actual giants of the time, like Galileo. He was, quite literally, crafting himself into the perfect vessel for what he saw as his divine purpose. And you know what? His talent was undeniable. His early poems were incredible, from religious odes to beautiful, sad elegies. Everyone could see he was a rising star. The path forward seemed totally clear. This guy was destined to write the great English epic. But history had other plans. Right when he was supposed to be hitting his poetic stride, a massive political upheaval was about to hit England, and it would put his ambitions on hold for, get this, 20 years. The English Civil War just erupts. The whole country is ripped apart by this conflict between the king and Parliament, and Milton, being a devout Puritan, felt like he had to join the fight, not with a sword on a battlefield, but with his pen. He basically put down his poetry and dedicated himself completely to Oliver Cromwell's cause and the dream of creating a Puritan republic. And this shift was just dramatic. Think about it. His big dream of a Christian epic put on ice. His audience went from, all of Christianity to just the English Parliament. He traded writing for the ages for writing for the moment. He became this fierce political writer, a polemicist, which is basically someone who uses words as weapons in debates. So it's during this whole political detour that he writes his most famous prose work, Areopagitica. And what's so wild about it is that its arguments are so modern. I mean, you could read them today and they'd feel like they were written yesterday. Okay, so what was he arguing? Well, for one, he made this passionate case for freedom of the press. No censorship. He believed that you can't be truly good unless you've been tested by bad ideas. You have to confront evil to know what virtue is. And he was championing really radical stuff, like divorce just because you're not compatible, which was a big deal for him personally, and even arguing for the execution of a king. And this core idea that virtue has to be tested by struggle is so important. Keep that in mind, because it's key to understanding Paradise Lost. So, after 20 years of pouring his heart and soul into this political fight, Milton's entire world just collapses. He's about to face his absolute darkest hour. But it's from that darkness that he's going to create his masterpiece. The year is 1652. After years of his eyesight getting worse and worse, his world finally went completely dark. John Milton was now blind. He poured all of that agony into a famous sonnet, starting with the line, "When I consider how my light is spent." He was genuinely asking how he was supposed to serve God now. I mean, imagine, this is a man whose entire life was built on reading and writing, and now he couldn't see a single word. And believe it or not, things actually got worse. The republic he fought for, it collapsed. The monarchy came back. Milton was arrested, his political books were publicly burned, he was left blind, disgraced, and on the totally wrong side of history. It looked like everything was lost. But it's right here at rock bottom, in total darkness and defeat, that he finally goes back to his original calling. He composes Paradise Lost,
entirely in his head. Just think about that. He would lie awake at night, forming the verses, memorizing dozens of lines at a time, and then in the morning, he'd dictate it all to an assistant. It's just an absolutely monumental achievement.
So the poem itself, it's got these two huge stories woven together. You've got Satan leading the rebellion of the angels, and then you have the fall of Adam and Eve. But here's the thing that stunned early readers. In the first few parts of the book, Satan just completely steals the show. He comes across as almost heroic. He's so magnificent in his pride, so defiant against what he sees as a tyrant god. And that is where our central paradox really catches fire.
So, okay, how did the world react to this incredibly complex poem written by a blind political outcast? Well, that's where things get really interesting.
This is maybe the greatest irony of Milton's whole legacy. The character he created to be the ultimate villain ended up being seen by later generations as the ultimate hero. Yeah, for a while in the 18th century, he was kind of overlooked. But then the romantic poets of the 19th century rediscovered him. And guys like Lord Byron, they didn't see Satan as a villain at all. To them, he was the ultimate rebel, this heroic symbol of standing up to tyranny. It's almost as if all that defiant, revolutionary spirit that Milton poured into his political writings found its ultimate expression in the character of Satan. And that leaves us right back where we started, with this huge, lingering question. Did the devout Puritan in Milton just accidentally make the devil too cool, too compelling? Or did the revolutionary in him instinctively understand just how powerful and alluring the idea of rebellion is? Rebel or hero? Who's the real protagonist? The fact that we're still debating this centuries later, well, that's the true genius of John Milton.